Hello, everyone. Happy World Fisheries Day. So happy that so many people are joining us today. It is going to be a really great event. I'm sure you've been busy all day, but this is one of the tradition almost of TBTI, the Too Big to Ignore Global Partnership for Small-Scale Fisheries, which we want to celebrate. We want to take part in this celebration. And this year is really important because we really want to focus on inland fisheries, which are, for us, they are not receiving enough attention. So they may not be too big to ignore, but they are definitely too important to fail. So my name is Ratana Chinpakdi. So I'm coordinating the TBTI Global Partnership, and it's really a great pleasure for us here today to see that we are going to be looking at small-scale fisheries, especially looking at inland fisheries, which are really almost by default small-scale fisheries. So we're organizing this in two parts, which you can see on the slide here. It's a lot about what's happening around the world when it comes to initiatives and efforts to support and promote sustainable small-scale fisheries in the inland fisheries context. But the very important part of this webinar is also about celebrating TBTI Nepal and their ebook, which is the title of this webinar. The ebook is called The Beauty and the Bounty at Risk. So we will be hearing about the book from the editors and the authors in the second half. So the webinar is recorded, and that way we can, maybe do some posting after the production, especially for our digest in a little while. Okay, so I would introduce the speakers for the first part. You see them here, you're going to see them on screen. These are the presentation. It's going to be from Valerio from FAO Rome. Thank you so much for joining. And Gretchen is also joining from the US. And then we have Cecil joining from UK. You can see from the title of the presentation, they'll be talking a lot about these really big initiatives that are taking place around the world. So that would set the stage well, emphasizing again the importance of inland fisheries and also what we can do together to address some of the issues and concerns and to support them. We asked them to spend about 8 minutes on their presentation. And after the three presentations, we would then have a round of question discussion. So Valerio, we'll start with yours. And I think the plan is for me to present to show your talk, which I would try to bring up. So if you like, for people joining, if you like to introduce yourself in the chat, you can tell us who you are, where you are joining from. That'd be great. Okay, now we should be good.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rantana. So, hello, everybody. I'm Valerio Crespi. I'm a fishery resource officer in the inland fishery team in FAO headquarters in Rome. So today I'm going to present this presentation, introduce the global initiative led by FAO on integrated water resource management, IWRM, and inland fishery, which aims to bring fishery into broader basin governance discussion. While inland fishery play a crucial role in food security, livelihoods, and ecosystem health, they are often overlooked in water resource planning. This initiative seeks to address that gap through a coordinated intersectoral approach tested through pilot programs across key basins worldwide. Next. Okay, today's session will outline the rationale and background for integrated inland fishery into basin management, followed by a timeline of the initiative development. We will then explore ongoing pilot projects implementing this approach, present the intersectoral framework guiding the methodology, and conclude with the next step and future roadmap for scaling this work globally. Next, please. So just to give an idea of the importance of inland fishery, globally, inland fishery produces 12% of the world fishery production, while utilizing less than 1% of global water. Participation in inland fishery is high, with 14 million people directly employed at the harvesting stage and approximately 36 million people engaged in subsistence inland fishery. The sector remained largely underrepresented in basin-level governance, despite being deeply affected by decisions across other sectors. Activities such as deforestation, mining, urban expansion, and unregulated fishing degrade aquatic ecosystem, while water-dependent agri-food sector, including fishery, livestock, and agriculture, rely on changing water system. Furthermore, climate change further intensify pressure through altered rainfall, raising temperature, and hydrological disruption, underscoring the urgent need for integrated management. The central objective of this initiative is to formally embed inland fishery within basin management strategy to enhance food security, nutrition, and sustainable livelihood for community dependent on freshwater ecosystem. Next, please. So the initiative began in 2023 when the FAO members selected IWRM as the thematic focus for the biennium. It has since advanced through a series of strategic milestones, starting with the first Entebbe workshop in 2023, which introduced a basin approach to inland fishery to representative of selected basin management organization and FAO regional fishery body. This was followed by multiple FAO interdivisional technical meetings and 8 meetings of the steering committee on IWRM and inland fishery, culminating in the second Entebbe workshop held in March 2025. This event have contributed to the development and validation of the insect sectorial framework, the preparation of a structured scoping document, and the launch of pilot studies now underway across priority region. Next, please. The intersectorial framework apply IWRM principle through ecosystem-based approach tailored to each sector, using inland fishery as the entry point for basin-level collaboration. The methodology consists of 5 stages, with the first 3 focused on in-depth assessment, including mapping basin context, risk assessment, geospatial analysis in collaboration with the University of Florida, Gretchen will talk about that later, and sectoral evaluation through participatory approach with national and local stakeholders. This input then should produce a multi-sectorial management design, enabling coordinated intervention across fisheries and other key agri-food systems in the selected basin. Next, please. This framework visualizes how sector-specific methodology converge into an integrated basin management system. It highlights the cyclical flow from assessment to planning, reflecting shared responsibility across stakeholders and sectors. The framework ensures that fisheries are considered not in isolation, but as part of a broader basin, food system, and ecological planning processes. Next, please. So in this slide, you can see the 7 pilot basins: Amazon, Lake Titicaca, Paraná, Lake Victoria, Lake Tanganyika, Mekong, and Niger are serving as test beds for applying the intersectorial framework on the ground. These pilots should demonstrate practical governance mechanisms, generate basin-level data, and test collaborative decision-making models that can be adapted and scaled to other basins. Each pilot reflects unique ecological, cultural, and policy context while contributing to a shared global methodology. Next, please. With regard to the future roadmap, the next phase focuses on refining the intersectorial methodology based on pilot results to be validated at the 3rd Global Workshop in 2027. In collaboration with partners and basin community, we're drafting a global program proposal to mobilize resources for scaling implementation in pilot basin. We are also expanding basin participation trying to formalize intersectoral governance structures, and integrating results into policy frameworks to ensure inland fisheries are systematically included in basin and water governance. The next one, please. So we invite partners, researchers, and basin authority to join the steering committee on IWRM and inland fishery meetings to contribute expertise and help guide the next step in advancing integrated basin governance. For engagement opportunity, feel free to contact me to my email address. I thank you all for your attention and wish you all a happy World Fishery Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's so exciting to hear what you're working on. Thanks for sharing with us. Okay, so we're going to move to the next presentation. Stop share. We're going to move to the next presentation, and then which is related to this, and then we'll come back for some questions and discussion later. Go ahead, Gretchen, please.
Wonderful. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's wonderful to be with you all today, and thank you, Ratana, for organizing this special occasion, and thanks, Valerio, for laying the groundwork for this presentation this morning. So what I'll talk about is kind of a component that has been evolving over the past 10 or so years and really trying to understand at a global scale and at multiple scales the status and especially the threats to inland fisheries. So just to sort of lay the foundation, I think most of you, or maybe all of you, are aware of the importance of inland fisheries, but they do contribute about half of all fish species globally and contribute to millions of people in terms of food security and livelihoods. And so they are extremely important. But again, as many of us know, the threats to inland fisheries are accelerating and are numerous and often interacting. And so that leads us to sort of this question, knowing that these resources are incredibly important and also now highly threatened. And so how can we sort of approach trying to understand and monitor and, more importantly, track changes to inland fisheries? And so that's where this project came in to really try to catalyze it towards progress in that direction. And so as we started to think about understanding the status of inland fisheries, we first had to consider that inland fisheries are highly dispersed and heterogeneous, small scale, and often they're impacted by many factors outside of the fishing sector itself. And so this is where it ties into what Valerio had mentioned and looking more broadly at the basin. We have to consider all of the different factors that are at play. And so that led us into sort of taking a threat-based or a vulnerability-based approach and asking these questions. And then in order to be able to compare globally and across regions, we have to then come up with an index to have a relative metric that can be comparable. And so that led us to these steps, and I'll just briefly walk through them. I'm happy to chat more if anyone has questions, but I'll just do a very broad brushstroke of how we developed this index, which we're calling FINDEX, or the Inland Fisheries Index. So the first step was to identify the major threats to inland fisheries, and you can see there's 5 categories here, and we've identified 29 total threats within these categories around habitat, pollution, fishing pressure, invasive species, and climate change. So then once we determined kind of these main core pressures that are facing inland fisheries, the next step was to then collate spatial data sets. So this involved collating open source, remotely sensed information that we could attribute or combine in meaningful ways to each threat. And then we summarize them at different scales. And so to make this meaningful, we summarized the geospatial information at local basin scales. And then we also looked upstream to the full network to understand how factors in the surrounding basins could be influencing a specific basin of focus. And then finally, again, for this sort of relativity to understand how factors are comparable across different areas, we used a triangulated approach to then calibrate the threat scores and come up with the scores themselves. And so again, without too much detail, here are the 3 different ways that we calibrated the scoring. We used a literature review of about 10,000 papers. We did a global survey of over 500 experts, and then we did modeling based on the best available data. And this is the way that the scores shook out. And I just want to draw attention to the fact that all of the top scoring threats are related to habitat. And so that really emphasizes the need for looking more broadly outside the fishing sector and looking across activities that are happening in basins more broadly. We also found that nearly a quarter of fisheries globally are under at least 10 different threats. And so that's part of what we're starting to think more about, is how these different threats are interacting and influencing each other moving forward. And so what this allows us to do is we can get a global picture of some of the hotspots where threats are high for inland fisheries. We can also look across ecoregions and habitat types. And then, like shown here, we can look at the top threats in each basin, and you can see the large presence of green, meaning that habitat is a large driver. We also see pollution and climate showing up in a number of different regions as well. In addition to that, we can look at individual basins, and we can have a summary of information. And this could be anything from looking at sedimentation to looking at the proportion of riparian areas that have been converted to agriculture or development over a certain time frame. And so that could be really useful, not only for fishery managers, but for basin stakeholders more broadly. And then finally, we can produce something like this. And this is an example in the case of Lake Malawi, where we can create sort of a summary report that shows the major threats, that shows the distribution of those threats spatially, and then it can help to equip managers to make decisions about how to prioritize resources and where there may be things going on that may be harder to see on the ground or harder to track over time from ground-based data. And so part of our work has led us into this discussion of adaptive capacity. And one of the things that we found that was not surprising, but is quite concerning, is that the fisheries that have the highest threats, and this is from a survey that we did globally, so fishery professionals and managers perceived that the fisheries with the highest threats also had the lowest adaptive capacities. And so this is a really key point as we think forward in terms of building resilience. And so how can we use some of these things on the left? These are the examples of the different categories of adaptive capacity. How can we build on these different things to sort of counteract the scale of the threats weighing things down? And then if you think about the adaptive capacities on the other side. And so that's part of the area that we're really interested in doing more with and trying to understand these factors for climate resilient fisheries in particular. And so looking back, in order to look forward, I just want to celebrate the successes that we have had over the last 10 or so years. Much of this work has been highly collaborative with many folks on this call, with folks at TNC and FAO and numerous universities and organizations. And so, yeah, we have made some substantial progress, and we really look forward to these next steps ahead. So as Valeria mentioned, the kind of scaling and implementation part is what we're working towards at the basin assessment scale. And then I just put this up there as a project that will help us to focus on sort of the climate resilient fisheries aspect. We'll be convening a working group with the National Synthesis Center in Santa Barbara over the next 2 years. And we'll be looking specifically at how we can pair local data and spatial data and really parse out the needs of our data moving forward and how we can start to predict some of these different variables. So yeah, so we're very excited about the things to come, and yeah, look forward to collaborating hopefully with many of you in that process. And just to close, I will put a quick pitch. We are in the process of recruiting a postdoc for this work, someone who's ideally quantitatively adept and good with modeling, who can help us to bridge the gap between locally collected data and spatial data, and we could try to create some synergies there. So if you are interested or know someone who is, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to connect. And more importantly, thank you all for being here and for your amazing work that each of you are doing. And yes, just another very heartfelt, happy World Fisheries Day to you all.
Thank you so much, Gretchen. Wonderful work here. Lots to do, but it's so much attention now on small-scale fisheries in inland context, which is wonderful. Okay, let's go to the final presentation for this first part that will be presented by Cecile. Go ahead, please, Cecile, share your screen.
Okay. So good afternoon. I'm Cécile Brugère, the Global Freshwater Fisheries Equity Advisor at the Nature Conservancy. Thank you very much for inviting us to this important event and to present on how we're advancing gender equity in inland fisheries. I would like to acknowledge here all my co-authors, and in particular my colleagues Lucie Lenné, Maria José, and Imani, who helped me put the case studies together and who may be on this call. So women represent more than 50% of the workforce in inland fisheries, but like in many other fisheries, they are underrepresented in management decision-making. It's a matter of equity and justice to change this, because women have a unique and underappreciated knowledge about the natural resource and the aquatic resources that they use. And also because we know that when they are involved and participate in a meaningful way, it increases the effectiveness of management and conservation efforts, and it also improves household well-being. So our goal is to lift the voices of women in inland fisheries management and conservation decisions. The case studies I'm going to present are from 3 of the geographies where the Nature Conservancy's freshwater fisheries strategy is implemented: the Tapajós River in Brazil, the Caqueta River Basin in Colombia, and Lake Tanganyika in Africa. So let's start with Brazil. There, approximately 30% of Fishers Association members are women, but very few hold decision-making roles. So to change this, we facilitated the participatory development and implementation of a gender action plan that brought together men and women from fishing and indigenous communities. One of the key actions of this plan was to build the capacity of a group of 20 women on gender and rights awareness and public policies, and prepare this group to amplify, scale out all the knowledge that they had gained to other communities and associations through a multiplying effect. And as a result, 650 women's capacity was developed, and some now hold decision-making positions in their organizations. To elevate the voices of women beyond their communities, we also supported their engagement with the Ministries of Women and the Ministry of Fisheries at federal level, where they could present their demand for greater recognition. Let's now go to Colombia. Along the Caqueta River, our work focuses on monitoring fish species for consumption. There, we deliberately build the capacity of 10 indigenous women in fisheries data collection and analysis. By becoming community monitors, they played a crucial role in recording and analyzing fishing data, and elevating the recognition and value of indigenous women's knowledge. This really elevated the value of indigenous women's knowledge of the territory and its resources. And knowledge is power, right? So we witness gains in confidence, as well as recognition and greater respect by community members. In parallel, we co-designed a gender action plan that includes conservation and monitoring actions to be led by women. And as a result of this two-pronged process, women are now recognized holder of knowledge, and we are supporting them to transmit it to youth and children, as well as other groups of women through intercultural exchanges. On the Tanzania side of Lake Tanganyika, in beach management units, which are the mechanism through which fisheries are managed at community level, fewer than 15% of women are in leadership positions. So to address this, as well as other constraints that women faced, we facilitated gender dialogues on social norms in fishing, as well as social norms within households, to raise awareness about the barriers that women face in participating and being heard in fisheries management. We developed the capacity of women with leadership skills such as communication, conflict resolution, financial literacy, so that they are better able to access leadership positions in beach management units, but also other local associations. We created community conservation banks and promoted women's memberships in this association, which address both the lack of capital and assets, as well as enables us to continue building awareness about the importance of conserving the fishery. And we worked on policy advocacy and legal inclusion by enhancing women's collective action and lobbying capacity through the Tanzania Women Fish Workers Association, also known as TOFA, which is a growing force in Tanzania representing the interest of women fishers and fish workers. So all these examples illustrate the many ways in which a woman's agency and empowerment can be developed through fisheries governance and management practices that are intentional about gender equity, and I really underline intentional here. We learned that having a structured approach with the Gender Action Plan enabled to build trust and commitment in communities and project teams, and also identify those most impactful actions that could be implemented at different levels. That empowering women with knowledge and valuing their role in fisheries management can go a very long way in opening spaces for their leadership, but this is something that needs to be done deliberately. Also capitalizing on drivers of change on the ground, such as the movement of indigenous people or TOFA, enables to add momentum to change and to growing equity. And importantly, building institutional bridges beyond communities enables to embed equity in freshwater fisheries conservation at higher levels of governance. But as you can imagine, there are still many challenges, and only to cite a few here, some customary and traditional rights can still be very discriminatory and are difficult to shift. Gender-based violence, such as sex for fish, is often hidden and requires deep behavioral change. Preconceptions about what women can or cannot do, the weight of home chores and caring responsibilities often eat women's time and prevent them from taking part in fisheries management activities. And we also have an insufficient understanding about the nuances of women's fishing practices that make it difficult for fisheries management to be fully gender responsive. And finally, in many places still gender blind policies and legislation are still gender blind and do not provide the enabling condition to promote equity in freshwater fisheries. So on World Fisheries Day, let's just try to shine a light on women's role and contribution, make this visible and pay proper attention to it. And also, more generally, let's ensure that fisheries management and gender equity are two indissociable sides of the same coin. That's it. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much. Okay. We would let us spend about 5-10 minutes or so on question and discussion. So just stop sharing your screen and we can bring everybody back. So feel free to turn your camera on if you have any question. You just raise your hand or just turn your mic on and just ask the question we heard. quite a few things already today. So anybody would like to ask, do you have any question, discussion? Also among yourselves, the speakers? I won't be able to see a hand. I will be able to see some hands if you, yeah.
Professor Ratna, shall I speak? Few questions.
Tech, go ahead, please.
Thank you so much. Happy World Fisheries Day. I would like to comment on some of the few very good points to the three earlier presentation. It was so amazing presentation. I was just waiting for those kind of presentation, especially Stokes. Sorry if I pronounce wrongly your name. So that is very outstanding one, and I was looking for that one. Actually, people they are asking several times, and they are raising voices that fish biodiversity is declining, but there are so many forces working behind those declination. And I think Stokes' work is very much appropriate. She has defined those are the factors which are affecting the natural fish biodiversity, and that was the one of the very very good work. I would like to applaud for that great work. Side by side, other remaining presentation were so excellent. It was so much amazing, very much eye-opening kind of things. Now the people they are thinking on the basin level management. That was very much appreciable. Yeah. So these are some of my points. I do not have much question to ask. Thank you so much for this
That's
opportunity.
great. Thank you so much, Tech. Ranju, you have your hand up. Would you have a question or comment?
Not a question though, but there's something that Nepal should take a note on that Miss Stokes presented. The fish stock decline is mainly due to habitat degradation than fishing. But in Nepal, there is a very much ban in fishing, and the fishers are, prohibited to fish. So yeah, while policy making, Nepal should take a note on that.
Okay.
Thank you. That's it.
And Royal, go ahead, please.
Hi everyone, thank you for the great presentation. So my name is Ruel. I'm based at University of Waterloo here in Canada. So I would like to ask especially about FAO in this regard, because we see a lot of instruments and guidelines that come up about coastal communities, coastal small-scale fisheries. For example, so SDG 14V, which is about access to marine resources and market, and also SSF guidelines. It has many principles regarding coastal small-scale fishing communities. So is there any initiative, anything that is coming through you are aware of through all this work, that inland fishery is also important? The small-scale fishers, they are also important. Another thing, we see a lot of work on blue justice. I understand that it has also covered the inland fisheries, but oftentimes we perceive it as the issues of coastal small-scale fishing communities. So, is there any need, or I don't know if there is any need that we could redefine this blue justice definition and issues it can cover? Thank you.
Valerio, would you like to?
Yeah, thank you, Ruel. I mean, from my side as FAO, if you follow my presentation, again, we have launched this global initiative on IWRM and inland fishery. The main objective, again, is to have a basing approach, considering, okay, as entry point fishery, but including also the other agri-food system or sector that are the main, in many cases, are the main sector impacting the basin. So I think this is the way that we are trying to address this issue. We are collaborating, as I mentioned, especially with the basin management organization, because the basin management organization around the world are those who deal with basin management, water management, hydropower, etc. But they do not enough give recognition and importance to inland fishery. So this is why we have opened a dialogue with all of them. We are also expanding the network. Last week, for example, I was in Senegal, had a meeting with the Senegal Development, the authority of the Senegal Development Basin. So just to say that we are initiating other similar initiative in other basins around the world. So basically, this is what we are doing in collaboration with other partners, like with Gretchen, with TNC, and other international partners to strengthen this collaboration and having a more intersectorial approach. Over.
Right. And if I could add quickly on the Blue Justice question, Royal, you can see, right, from what Gretchen said in terms of threats and also what Cecile presented about gender, they're very similar. What's happening in the inland case, and a lot worse, perhaps because of, other constraints. And when you think about that in the context of small-scale fisheries, other cases. But Kyoko might have some other point to add, especially on gender. Kyoko, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Yes, I do have a question. Cecile, thank you very much. It was a very interesting presentation. I wanted to ask you because you were mentioning about sex for fish issue in the last slide. I was wondering whether, because I have heard about that in the marine setting, but not so much in the inland setting. Because inland, I think the landing site is quite dispersed also, especially for the small scale fisheries. And in Asia, I only know about Asia, it's quite dispersed. So it's a bit difficult for that to happen because it's not that concentrated. But I do not know whether, can you kind of shed light on this possibility of sex for fish in the inland case?
Sure. Sure, yes, thank you for your question. Yes, it is very much prevalent in the African context, in inland fisheries. It is used by women to secure their fish supply, even if they have to also pay in cash for the fish that they purchase, because these transactions enable them to secure the suppliers, and yes, they are used, to my knowledge, pretty much all over the big inland fisheries in Africa. So, and it's a phenomenon that is known, accepted, unfortunately, and very difficult to change because but not impossible to change, and requires actions at a lot of different levels, behavioral, economic, and so on. Thank you.
All right. Great, thank you. I don't see any other hands at the moment, but we can come back to these more questions later on as well. So let's move to the second part of the webinar, which is about the book that we are celebrating today as part of the World Fisheries Day. So this is the second part of the program, which would be, we would like to invite Svein to basically speak about the book, and then we would hear about the book by the editors and other speakers that has been invited. So, Svein, we'll start from you.
Well, can you see me now? Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here today. What I would like to do is to start by simply congratulating the Nepalese team for having produced this wonderful book, which is not only nice to look at, but also nice to read. I have really enjoyed reading the text. It provides such vivid explanation and description of the situation in a landlocked country like Nepal, as far as small-scale fisheries are concerned. but it also provides convincing arguments with regard to how their livelihoods and their well-being could be advanced. This book can, of course, be read from different angles and from different perspective. You can read it as an insider, as a person from Nepal would do, and you will feel empowered by the observations and the arguments made, and the way the book addresses the government, who have a history of ignoring or neglecting the situation that small-scale fisheries people are living in, resulting in development policies that often have collateral damages on small-scale fisheries people and their communities, for whom these fisheries are so important for their nutrition, food security, livelihoods, communities, and there's a long list of benefits from small-scale fisheries. The book provides a vivid description of what small-scale fisheries in Nepal is all about, and the argument is therefore that any governance policy with regard to small-scale fisheries need to take all these things into account at the same time. They often refer to in the book to the SSF guidelines that talk about the need for an holistic perspective, and if you wonder what that might imply, this book provides a vivid illustration of all the things you need to take into consideration. But you can also read it as an outsider, as a non-person, non-Nepalese person would do, like me. And you will in this book find a case of indigenous small-scale fisheries that you can also find in other parts of the world. We definitely need to know the numbers of small-scale fisheries, which are in inland fisheries, which are staggering. We're talking about not small figures, but millions and millions of people around the world, and which FAO has documented so well. But I would also argue that in order to be really convinced that this is something that is important, we need good narratives. Narratives have the benefit of not speaking just to the mind, but also to the heart. A good narrative brings you there. You can get a feel of what this is all about, and this is what this book provides. It provides a good narrative of what small-scale fisheries in Nepal is all about, what the lives of these people are all about, how the lives of men and women and children have when they draw their livelihoods and build their communities based on these aquatic resources. So I would really suggest that we think of it also in this way. We need good narratives, like the one this book is providing. The book also has an argument for the establishment of a so-called TBT hub, a sort of a center of focus on small-scale fisheries in a particular country. And SSF or TBTI has now provided or established a number of such hubs around the world. And in some instances, the whole thing starts with producing a book like this one, which is a good way to begin forming a hub that concentrate on promoting attention also from the academic community to small-scale fisheries. So this is also a nice example of how it can be done and should be done. when you establish these hubs, which Tech and Tech Gurung and his group wants to establish in Nepal for small-scale fisheries in landlocked countries. So, having said that, I cannot take credit for this book, but I'm still proud to see it because I was part of that initial meeting in 2024 in Nepal, where we met all together and we started to talk about what we could do to advance or improve or build greater attention to small-scale fisheries in Nepal. And we already then laid out the keel for a book like this. And I know about all the great work, hard work that has been invested in producing this book in the meantime, and it's so wonderful to see the result. So I hope it will receive the attention, not just in Nepal, but also in other areas of the world that have inland fisheries, of course, of different scales, but are nevertheless having an economy built on them. So I know that TBTI will do a good job in promoting it so that it gets attention outside Nepal, but the attention it needs inside Nepal is something that the new hub could provide. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sven. So the book is already available for download on the website, TBTI website, so feel free to help yourself there. Okay, now I'm going to turn the floor to our Nepal team here. Tech, would you like to turn your camera on and take it from here? Because you're bringing quite a lot of people here for the presentation. So go ahead, please. The floor is yours.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Ratna. Congratulations and happy World Fisheries Day to everybody. So I would like to just give you a glimpse about this book, how it appears, and what are the things inside. Of course, Professor Jen Toff has already mentioned all the things, but basically some of the other fundamental things perhaps that will be important and that will be, I think, good to know to the outsiders audience. I would like to call upon a few representative, Professor Ratna, all professors from AFU, Agriculture and Forestry University, all invited guests and all authors and all editors. Actually, this book is, I like this title, given by Professor Ratna, I believe, Beauty and Bounty at Risk, Small-Scale Fisheries in Nepal. Though Professor Ratna visited only for a few days in Nepal, but she captured the holistic overview of the problem of the fisheries, small-scale fisheries in Nepal. That is highly, highly appreciable. And I still love and I like this title. So this is about the beautiful Nepal. Of course, I like my country because it's so mountainous. So many, pretty mountains are here and huge water surface area. So I believe I sometimes I myself puzzled, being a landlocked country and such a mountainous country, how this small scale fishes came into existence, having something like 10.8% of the people depending on the small scale fisheries, and some 18 ethnic communities are involved there. They speak different languages, they have different cultures. So perhaps the answer probably is because of its huge water surface area, 4 river, major river systems coming down from Himalaya, and perhaps very strong monsoon. Those are the reasons that perhaps almost like all 12 months, there are enough plentiful of water area in Nepal, where the fish can exist, fish can survive, they can reproduce, and they can multiply. Therefore, there was From very ancient time, these 18 ethnic communities, they made their livelihood on fishing activities. They are educating their kids, they are having their food security, their nutritional security, their income, they are self-employed. This 10.8% of people means a huge population in this small country. So we thought that probably promoting small-scale fisheries has a better future. And the traditional knowledge, generational knowledge here, and that should be not forget very in very faster way as our our values, our civilization are diminishing so fast. It should not like it should not be in the small scale fish. That was the mindset. So as you know, this Nepal is also known as a water tower of Asia. There's headwaters have I already mentioned huge number of 6,000 rivers in a very small country, covering almost like 7% of the total area. So these were perhaps the potentiality that we should focus on the small scale fisheries in future. But one of the thing is still the country is like that resourceful. There are such huge number of fisher communities involving in fishing. However, they are still, they are called the poorest of the poor. So that is the dilemma, how to make the aquatic biodiversity sustainable and how to keep this 10.8% of the population intact in the fishing profession. That is not a kind of, our demand, but for the sustainability of nature, probably that will be essential. So that is the one of the focus of this book, that we should promote small scale fisheries and we should give better life to them, better food security. And I would like to appreciate again the FAO's the voluntary guidelines. Actually, that was the one of the motivating point. And we thought that by holding this nerve of the voluntary guidelines, probably we can change the face of this small holder poor fishermen in Nepal. And probably because the water resources are quite huge compared to other landlocked countries, that means probably Nepal should be a hub. If we put a small effort to make a TBTI hub here in Nepal, probably can change the scenario of the whole world. Especially, I would not go onto the coastal countries, but among the landlocked countries, probably Nepal is a appropriate place to be a TBTI hub. Generation of knowledge, bringing new knowledge and capturing those traditional knowledge of those fishermen they have. Perhaps that will be beneficial for the whole of the other inland fisheries, whole world. Perhaps that they can learn from the traditional knowledge what the ethnic communities in Nepal they are producing. So that's our humble request. Perhaps again, as I appreciated all the three authors who presented the paper. I think those are the future of the research in Nepal in small scale fisheries. Still, the level of the research is quite, at an initial point. It means there are now we have this AFU, Agriculture and Forestry University. They have started graduate programs, undergrad programs, and PhD programs. That means there will be this educational kind of thing will be also be supporting the innovation into this small scale fisheries kind of thing. So these are I think I should not take much time. So thank you. I would like to thanks again Professor Ratna, Swin Gentop for giving their highly intelligent inputs into this book. And not least, but I would like to also recall Vesna. She contributed a lot to to improve the quality of this book. Thank you so much for all the editorial team, all the authors, all the audience, and my respected professors from Ratna, Gentov, and Sunila Rai, and all other friends. With these remarks, I think I should stop here. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Yes, that's
Thank you so
wonderful.
much.
Congratulations once again. Okay, I know that we have a few people who are in the lineup to speak, and I'm not sure exactly what the order should be, Tech. Have you talked to? I mean, shall we maybe Rantu, you could go next, because you can provide a bit of background about the work, and then we would invite the other two authors, editors, sorry, and then Professor Sunila. And Ranju, why don't you share the screen? Go ahead, please.
Okay, ma'am. I'd like to, share more about what Tex sir had to say so that we can see it in the presentation. Now, can we see the screen?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. First of all, it is my utmost honor to welcome you all to launch of this uh, ebook, The Beauty and Bounty at the Risk. Um, as this ebook also marks a significant milestone for Nepal, as it is the first ebook on small scale fisheries in Nepal, collecting the stories of rivers, lakes, and wetlands. So, as the co-editor of this ebook, I would like to share briefly about why this book was created, what it represents, and what we hope that in future small scale fisheries would be. So, here's honoring Nepal's small scale fisheries story behind the first ebook. Uh, the motivation behind this ebook came from a simple yet clear gap, that is, although small scale fisheries represent especially the marginalized community, and they uh, and the marginalized community depend on livelihood, food security, cultural identity, inland water stewardship on small scale fisheries. Yet, they remain largely invisible in mainstream planning, research, and academia in Nepal, as there is lack of documentation and limited representation of small scale fishers in the decision making spaces. So the aim to create this ebook came from a simple the agenda, that is collecting the knowledge and experiences as well as evidence of small scale fisheries in Nepal. This ebook would not have been possible without the consistent and tireless effort from students, researchers, and fisheries practitioners from across the country as well as TBTI. Uh, the chapters in this ebook reflects the diverse experience and expertise from around the country and provides a uniform platform for small-scale fisheries knowledge. We also conducted 3 days writing workshop and field visit. And yes, I'd like to thank sincerely to Professor Ratna ma'am and Professor Sven sir for taking their time and uh, precious time and uh, to to meet with us and to conduct the workshop in Nepal. Here are some photos. The ebook highlights the diverse arenas such as livelihood welfare, life histories, socioeconomic realities, ecology and biodiversity, climate change impacts, as well as fishing gears, post-harvest practices, and value chain. One of the most distinct story that struck with me was small scale women, especially women, are dependent on small scale fisheries in Nepal. As you know, it is very important, as women can get the opportunity to earn from small scale fishing, which is covered in gender, culture, and community perspective. As I have read every one of the chapters, each chapter represents and gives a hint about governance gap and small scale fisheries, being dismissed, rights of small scale fisheries being dismissed. As the ebook highlights the richness of a freshwater ecosystem, but it equally highlights the pressure the small-scale fisher change, get from the climate change and habitat loss. There is persistent struggle of small-scale fishers for their rights, simple rights, customary rights of fishing also. So here I am urging all the academicians and everyone to align to join forces to align with the global framework such as FAO SSF guidelines, Blue Justice principles, and Sustainable Development Goal commitments. So we can use this platform, this ebook for research, advocacy, and implementation of small-scale fisheries right, as well as support inclusive, equitable, and interactive welfare-based fisheries governance, as well as strengthen the recognition of small-scale fisheries in Nepal. And as Texas said, to make it honorable across inland fisheries, at least for landlocked countries of the world. Thank you. Last but not least, I want to express my sincere gratitude to authors and all supporters for this ebook. And I'd like to thank Agriculture and Forestry University for providing the platform to conduct the workshop, FAO for taking their time and joining in this book launch event. I'd like to thank TBTI, especially Professor Ratna ma'am and Vesna ma'am for their, support and continuous guidance. So yeah, let's take a step towards visibility and justice for small scale fisheries. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ranju. Well, congratulations once again. You're one of the youngest editor that we ever have for the ebook. So this is a real achievement, and a lot of the authors who are contributing to this book, they're all students, early career researchers, which is really wonderful. Okay, I
Thank you,
think
ma'am,
we
for
have two.
believing in me.
I think we have two other editors in the room here. Nelson, would you like to say something quickly also? And Tanishwa?
Hello,
Okay, Tanishwa.
good evening and namaste.
Namaste. Go ahead, please,
Uh,
Nelson.
Actually, I'm very much glad and my pleasure to TBTI Global. We work hard in Nepal, but we didn't get any best platform to share our stories around the globe. This is a great achievement. I think we worked in field, we worked in lake fisheries. Being a landlocked country, we faced so difficult to achieve the production from fisheries sector, including women, backward communities, and even each and every aquacultural practices in Nepal are small scale. Though we are little, we produce from very highland mountain range to from the Kosi River basin to mountain region. We produce uh, different fish species where the fishermen, fisher communities from different ethnic groups from Terai to high mountain region are involved. But our stories we are working for it are not spreading around the world, and this is the great opportunity. Thank you so much, TBTI Global. Dr. Teg Gurung takes us from Tech to TBTI Global to share the stories from the different regions of Nepal, and we are very glad that we get best platform to share our stories. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nelson. Okay, Tanishwa, go ahead, please.
Okay. Yes, good evening from Nepal, and whatever the time zone there, and good evening, good morning. And I'm Thaneshwar Bhandari, and working as assistant professor at Tiruvan University. Okay, I'm a researcher for fishery industry value chain analysis, and doing my research in especially in the aquaculture, and in the side by side I am also collecting data for the small scale fisheries, and in 2 years time, I think at the end of 2023 and 25, I also acted as an author for assessing welfare of small scale fisheries, and also learned a lot from the writes up, and also got many insight from the farmers or fishers, especially because that I had some experience about how to fish, and also what they are doing actually, because that I got insight from the six districts in Nepal, and collected data, and analyzed data, and also being a
economist, I have a lot of experience about value chain analysis, and then okay, loan diet. In what value chain functions they are involved. And I found that almost all small scale fisheries are involved in the fishing activities, and they are doing nothing. Just their efficiency is low, harvesting efficiency is low, and just they are catching fish and just selling in the market, and there is no any value addition. And in this aspect, this book, around where there are 29 articles, and then those articles are really relevant, and each article is focusing about the especially welfare and livelihood. Some are fishing experiences, and some are governance issues, some are policy issues, and also the fishing experience. And all things are included in this ebook, and that is the beauty and the bounty. And so on the one hand, and other beauty and the bounty is that we are collecting the so many experiences in a single hand with the many authors, and I especially acknowledge all the authors, and so that I am also learning from you, and so that experience is great for me. And then I appreciate the great efforts, because that this is a kind of cooperation, and also we call it as a is a co-management, because that with these efforts, and then we build the one book, and that is the ebook as a cumulative efforts. And I'm very happy with Professor Jenta, Professor Ratna, Professor Vishna, Professor Tek Gurung, and many other authors, because that I become close with this book. So I'm very happy. And so at last we have you know we have designed, and then we have okay, this book is a good reference for all people, except farmers, maybe the fishers may not read, but researchers, policy makers, and then all people will read, and then that would be the best sample or the reference book for all kind of the researchers as well as the student. I hope this book, and in future endeavors, we will make it more fruitful, and the more kind of cooperation we'll get, and in that endeavor, I don't know how much efforts the TBTI team is doing, and then I guess tremendous efforts the TBTI team is working on, from my side, I acknowledge the efforts of all, and thank you very much for giving me the time and the platform for sharing my experiences. I hope we will meet physically, and then okay, we celebrate for these joint efforts. And at last and not least, I would like to say Happy Fisheries Day 2025. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so we have two people who have been invited to provide some quick comment, and then we would open up the floor for other people as well. I wanted to start from Professor Sunila Rai. She's been supportive of the production of the ebook, and I'd like to hear the perspective as she's the president of Nepal Fisheries Society. Professor Sunila. Go ahead, please, with your intervention.
Thank you, Ratana. It was nice meeting you again, and Professor Zentov virtually. We met in India with Ratana, but Professor Zentov, I think we did not meet after AFU, our program. So anyway, good evening, everyone. First, I would like to thank organizers for giving me this opportunity to say a few words about this book, Beauty and Bounty. I would also like to congratulate all authors and editors to bring this book, as I know that many of authors are the fisheries students from the Agriculture and Forestry University, and being their professor, I feel very proud to see their names in such the important ebook. I can imagine our students, they must be happy to become authors of this milestone book. To my knowledge, this is the first ebook on small-scale fisheries in Nepal, which I already mentioned in the foreword of the book also. Now, in this regard, I would like to thank TBTI, Professor Ratana and Professor Janto for taking this wonderful initiative. I don't say that this is a very complete and then advanced book, but anyway, this is the first book which covers the almost all aspects of the small scale fisheries. And this is the beginning, and we need to improve the further by covering all the aspects of the small scale fisheries. Regarding Nepal, Nepal is rich in inland water and aquatic biodiversity, where small-scale fisheries play a vital role in food security, nutrition improvement, livelihood, and also the health of our aquatic biodiversity. There is a huge potential in this sector, and future projects that need to be developed based on the FAO's voluntary guidelines for small-scale fisheries and the blue justice concept of the TBTI. As a professor of this field, I would like to suggest that if we create more effective programs to attract the younger generation to small-scale fisheries, we can advance the fisheries in the country. Comparing to the other sectors like the agriculture, aquaculture, livestock, or the animal health, small-scale fisheries is still need to be made more attractive. In my opinion, if we provide the scholarship and the research opportunities for our students, it would be an excellent way to inspire them and build their interest to this field. If we were able to create such opportunities, we can develop the strong and the capable technical manpower in the country to support the growth of the small-scale fisheries, not only in the Nepal, but also beyond. At the end, on behalf of the Agriculture and Forestry University and Nepal Fisheries Society, I would like to wish you all the happy World Fisheries Day and also wish you the great success in the future, especially the FAO, TBTI, and Nepal in supporting the small-scale fisheries. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Rai. Okay, so the final commentator will be, we will hear now from the government, well, somebody who's working for the government. This is Sarita Gautam, who's the chief of the Central Fisheries Promotion and Conservation Center. Go ahead, please, with your comment.
Okay, thank you, Ratana. Good evening, everyone, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Sarita Gautam, currently working as the Joint Secretary at Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, and now I am currently leading the fisheries sector of Nepal. It's my great pleasure to be the part of this webinar on the occasion of the World Fisheries Day. And today we have gathered to appreciate the profound significance of inland small-scale fisheries, a vital source of livelihood, food and nutrition security for many marginalized and disadvantaged communities of the Nepal. And today it is my absolute delight to announce the launch of the Nepal first ever ebook, which is entitled The Beauty and the Bounty at the Risks. This pioneer book captured 29 stories of the fish, the fishers, and the fisheries of Nepal. And I wholeheartedly endorse this book and believe it will be a critical resources in highlighting the importance of small-scale fisheries in Nepal, its importance, and what the challenges the small-scale fisheries is facing in Nepal. So it will be the guiding document to our policymaker, researcher, educator, and the development partner. And my sincere congratulations and gratitude to all the author, editors, and supporters who made this achievement possible. I personally commit to leveraging the content of this book in our future work, ensuring it will serve as the key reference in our fisheries program and policy formulation in coming days too. In Nepal, small-scale fisheries significantly contribute to total annual production, and currently it is contributing approximately 17% to the total production, and it is the source of livelihood for 350,000 people, and as already said by other speaker, we are enriched with a remarkable diversity of live hosting to in Nepal harbor 252 fish species. Among them, 236 species are indigenous in Nepal, and 16 of them are endemic to Nepal. So this sector is deeply woven into the indigenous knowledge of 18 ethnic communities, passed down through generation. While there is no doubt that this sector significantly contributes to food security and ecosystem protection, it has not developed to its full potential. For the past 2 decades, production from capture fisheries has remained stagnant with limited intervention for its promotion. A lack of technical manpower, capacity, and sufficient budget has held the sector back. The potential of our small-scale fisheries is immense in Nepal, and its importance is only growing, but it is not grown as we have expected. Therefore, I call upon our partner at FAO, TBTI, to join us in a collaborative effort to flourish this sector. Let us work together, guided by FAO voluntary guideline for securing sustainable small-scale fisheries and the principle of the Sustainable Development Goals and TBTI's advocacy for blue justice for the betterment of Nepal and our global communities. With that, I conclude my remarks and I wish you all a pleasant World Fisheries Day celebration. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's such a strong endorsement coming from the government. Really appreciate that. Okay, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of excitement, already more excitement about inland small-scale fisheries and lots of program, as we heard from FAO and what Gretchen is doing and what TNC and others. So I'm not sure, we have about 10 minutes left in the program, right? The planned event today. So I really wanted to invite everybody to, if you have any comment, you have anything you'd like to share, and other excitement in your parts of the world about what's happening there. And yeah, that's not very often that we will sit now with, FAO in the room with their program that they're doing and other researchers and also government. So anybody would like to have anything like you'd like to say or share something or have any questions? I saw in the chat here about, go ahead, Ranju, please.
I am Raj Kapoor Napi.
Thank you, ma'am.
From, yeah.
Yes, sir, continue.
It's at it's Napit. Would you like to say something? Or, I mean, I saw that. No, your mic is mute.
Mr.
Sorry.
Napit is on. I think he's going to speak something. Mr. Napit.
I thought
Yes,
so
let
too,
him
but now,
speak.
but now the microphone is mute. Could you unmute the microphone, Napit, and then
Napit ji,
we
तपाईको
would hear.
माइकलाई अनम्युट गर्नु न.
No, you are on mute.
Mute boy.
Yes,
Hello?
now it's okay. Yeah.
Sunnubhayo? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes.
सुन्दैछु ल भन्नुहोस्.
Yeah. I am fisheries expert of the in the indigenous species in Nepal. Is a small scale fisheries is specialized. We are going to many small and big river system in mostly I work in the biodiversity, fish biodiversity of EIA multiple hydroelectric projects. Mainly maybe 60 projects I am doing in fisheries in biodiversity. So myself, it is very important for small scale fisheries in Nepal. There are many types of the small scale fishery in Nepal. So that it is important for your TBT is very good knowledge and good uh, opportunity for us. So that I thanks all of them. Okay. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. Cornelia, go ahead, please. We have comment or question to
Yes,
anyone in the room.
yes. First of all, I think I want to congratulate the team for putting this together. I think there is very often not enough attention to inland fisheries, even though they are of major importance in Asia, but particularly also in Africa. Because of the nature and their embeddedness in a broader socioeconomic production and value chains, I think they are super important for making sure that the resources are respectfully used and the benefits are accruing to the people themselves. While in many, let's say, in marine fisheries, there is a very big element of export to markets with higher purchasing power, and where it is much harder sometimes to share the benefits. So I think the team should be particularly congratulated to document this, make it clear to many who perhaps have not had a second look or a careful look, how important it is for local culture, economic and social dynamics, and to raise the profile so that there is more recognition how the small-scale fishers, with their embedded ecological knowledge, with the way they are organized, with both the limitations and the capabilities in technological ways, they are, to our understanding, really the promise for the future. Because very often they will just harvest what can regrow. They will not destroy through excessive technological means. Also, when they use their ecological knowledge more extensively, it means from all kinds of perspectives, a lot of clever and intelligent solutions, because basically it means very often you are using the knowledge to wait for the fish to come to you, rather than deploying massive technologies run across the world's ocean to chase the fish, and in the process have a huge CO2 footprint, and actually, when you look at the more global picture, produce less and less for more and more effort. So I think the effort of the team and all we have heard today is a wonderful encouragement to pay heed and be respectful for what those small-scale fishers are doing every day, every month, every year, and to support them with whatever we can in terms of gaining more self-confidence, cooperating more together among themselves with science and so on, and play active roles in the governance of the resources so that they are protected for the future and for sharing the benefits fairly. So really, I'm very impressed, and I love what I heard today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cornelia. And again, I'm monitoring the chat too, and I'm glad to see that, Valerio is sharing what is planning to do in Nepal, and lots of opportunity with what Gretchen is doing, and also what Cecile is doing. So I think we are getting better. We'll still have to do more, and the ebook would definitely help bring more awareness and really recognizing and raise the profile of inland small-scale fisheries, not only in Nepal but around the world. Okay, so we really have about 2 minutes, and then now I see that Tech would like to have the floor, and that would be very good because we can definitely end with what Tech has to say, unless anybody else. Maybe one final call for anybody else. Anyone would like to say anything before we give the floor back to Tech to do like a bit of a, final remark? No? So go ahead, Tech. Maybe you can do it briefly so that we can close on time. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Professor Ratna. Well, actually, if you allow me, I would like to respond Ms. Karanelia's comment about the massive scale of harvest from sea resources, and not in that limit, in not that level from the land. From the inland fisheries, I would say from the mountain fisheries in Nepal, as it is in Nepal. But therefore, thank you so much, Cornelia, for raising this issue. And actually, we want to establish the relationship with all the marine fishers, because the headwater fisheries probably is most ancient one, and the marine fisheries is perhaps the advancement of the traditional fishing that was started into the highlands, into the in rivers. So, but it is because of the time setting everything. So someday might have this mountain fisheries, or say inland fisheries were very much flourishing comparing to marine fisheries. But this time, maybe this inland fisheries is not that flourishing comparing to the marine fisheries. Therefore, so we want to urge that these mountain people, though we live in landlocked countries, there should be some sort of connectivity, and we also be sharing the benefit of the blue justice, especially the poor fishers living in high mountain or living in a mountainous country or landlocked countries like Nepal. So this is our heartiest urge from the global community to give a kind of support to the small scale fisheries in inland water. I think with these remarks, I think this seminar organized by Professor Ratna, Professor Gentov, were very much eye-opening to the whole world, especially those living in landlocked countries, perhaps. Of course, the coastal fisheries are relatively faster, relatively advanced. So I would like to urge to have a vision of blue justice towards the landlocked countries too. I think with these remarks, I should stop here, Professor Ratna, if you allow.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Okay, we're just about time, and now I'm reminded by Valerio here that we should be taking picture, right? So keep your camera on, Tech. Come back. So thank you everyone for joining, and really appreciate that you're sharing what you're doing around the world, and also the really wonderful work that is happening in Nepal. Congratulations to the TBTI Nepal team, and also to everyone who's working very hard on promoting small-scale fisheries in inland and in marine context. Today is World Fisheries Day, so I'm inviting everybody to again turn on your camera. Riel would capture the picture for us, and we can say it together. We can also turn on our microphone, and that way we capture the sound when we all say Happy World Fisheries Day. We can also say Happy World Inland Fisheries Day. Okay, so camera on, microphone on, everybody. Okay, first round, Happy World Fisheries Day.
1, 2, 3. Happy
Smile.
Fishery Day.
Happy World Fisheries
Happy World
Inland
Fisheries Day.
Land Fisheries Day.
Happy World Fishes Day.
Okay, we'll do it again.
Happy World Fisheries
Happy
Day.
World Inland Fisheries Day. 2, 3.
Happy World Inland Fisheries Day.
This is good.
So thank you very much, all.
Yes,
Thank you,
Thank
Ratana.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Tek.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Meet you in
you.
person.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Take
Good day, good
care.
afternoon.
Thanks so much for joining. You
Bye.
can download the book and start reading.